Today's video covers the valve adjustments on the R1150RT. What you need today: Allen keys, size 6 for the valve cover. Also need size 5 Allen key for the guard that goes over the valve cover. Once we're into the valves, to adjust them, we need a size 3 Allen key. Once we're into the valves, feeler gauges. To pull the coil, you need a little special coil adjuster. A extra thin walled 16mm plug to get the spark plugs out, and a 10mm spanner. There's two. Okay, let's get started. First things first, we need to remove the cover for the valve cover guard. Okay, that removes that cover. That's just the guard for the cylinder heads. And we'll do the other side. Okay, for this bit we need a 6mm hex to get the valve cover off. First things first, take the cover off the coil, get a little special tool, just pop that, drain the oil out of it, and again make sure the little rubber cap comes off, and you pop it back on the centre so that you don't lose it or forget it. Okay, next thing's the plug. Because these are inset so far, you need a very thin, what they call an extra thin wall spark plug socket. As you can see, it's very, very thin. These ones don't look too bad. The next step is to put the bike into top dead centre so that we can get all the valves open. That means the piston's going to be up as far as it can be. The best way to do that is actually to put the bike in top gear. To put the type in bike in top gear, clutch in, just up with the lever, and we'll get someone to spin the tyre a bit to make it click into gear. So, in top gear now. So being in top gear, we can actually move the pistons in and out of the bike so the plugs are out, and we can spin the wheels to set the top dead centre. That's the next step, is to put the bike in top dead centre. There's a little sight glass in here, so I'll be able to see when it gets in the top dead centre. So what you have to do is just keep the torch on there, use the back wheel, and just spin it around. There's a little sign that says OT, and that's got to be in the middle of the window, and that's about right now. Okay, now we've hit top dead centre, and pictures in the video. We've got to check the gaps in these valves here. It's 0.15mm is the intake valve. This one, it's like it's a magnet. That one might be a little bit too loose, but it's probably not too bad. This one down here is pretty, oh no, it's quite loose as well. No, they both feel fine. So we don't need adjusting on those two. The exhaust valve is 0.3mm. Same thing, put it down in here. And that's nice and loose as well, just like it's been run against a magnet. It's okay. And again, this one's not bad either. So, this side, We've just checked it, doesn't need adjusting, it's all good. Okay, onto the other side. We've moved top dead centre for this cylinder, so these valves are now totally closed. And again, we'll just use 0.15 for the inlet valve. Just check that, and yep, that's nice and smooth. It's like a magnet's just hold against the metal. So that one's okay. Again, this one's nice and smooth as well. So the two inlet valves are fine. The exhaust valve, 0.3 of a mil, same test. We did have to adjust the valves, it's quite simple. 10 mil spanner onto the nut on the outside, just crack that open, and then when that's open, that'll release the pressure off the inner one, which is a 3 mil Allen key. So it sits in there like that, and then you adjust that backwards and forwards until the feeler gauge runs smoothly through it. Then when you've made the adjustments there, you keep that in place and get your spanner and just tighten up that external nut again, and then your valves are set. But when you've done the lock nuts for the adjusters for the valves, they're set at 8 Newton meters, so you need to make sure you use your torque wrench to do them properly. Spark plugs. The gap's supposed to be 0.8 of a mil, so while we've got them out, we'll just check them over, and again, it's got to feel like just a metal over magnet, and these ones are fine as well. That's one side, other side. Yep, they're fine, they're gapped at 0.8. Okay, we'll put the plugs back in now. Now the plugs go in at 25 Newton meters. Again, get your torque wrench, set it to 25, so you make sure you don't over tighten them. If you over tighten them into, there's a click for 25 Newton meters. Okay, onto the other side, same thing. I won't bother moving the camera. Now the valve cover goes back on. When you put the valve cover on, just got to make sure this seal around here is in place, which it is. Seal's just along in here. And we'll also check the seal in the centre of the valve cover. That's the seal, that one there. Put these back in place. Okay, we'll just check the seal just to make sure it's seated properly before we tighten these up. It looks like it's pretty good. That's not a problem. Now the next step, that's done, is to make sure we've got the coil inserted back properly. Just make sure it's nice and clean. Always have a bit of a clean around. And this will just slip straight on. Make sure it's not lined up, so it's just going to pop in there. You hear a click. And it just clips on like that. Put the back in first, clip on the front. Okay, that covers on. Now next thing, last thing, is to put the guard just back onto the engine. Different spanner. $5 mil Allen key. All done, all good. Okay, that's it. That's done now.